It was a Friday evening, October 21st, when I walked through the door at 6 p.m. I'd closed the shop early to set up a little dinner. Nothing extravagant, just steaks on the grill, some roasted red potatoes, and a decent bottle of rye. I had just landed a regional supply contract, the biggest deal my woodworking business had ever seen. Valerie texted me at 4:30, saying she'd be home by 6. I figured I'd make the night nice, you know? I even used our good plates, the ones we hadn't touched in over a year. I cleaned the garage too. I wanted her to notice the effort. She didn't get home until 9:15. No apology, no explanation. She walked in, still wearing that beige pantsuit like she'd just stepped out of a meeting. I stood up, trying to hide how much I'd been hoping she'd care. "I got the contract," I said, trying to sound upbeat. "We're supplying all 7 locations." She didn't look up from her phone. "I'm too tired for this," she muttered, barely glancing at me. I told her I'd cooked. She barely looked at the table, and then her eyes flicked back to mine, cold as hell. "From now on, I'll decide when we talk or spend time together," she said, her voice flat, dismissive. "Stop acting like some clingy teenager. I'm married down. We both know that." Then, without another word, she walked down the hall, her high heels clicking on the floor like some kind of final statement. The door to her office slammed shut behind her. I sat there, just staring at the cold food, the bourbon untouched beside it. I didn't chase after her. I didn't yell. I just waited. The next morning, I didn't do anything for her. Didn't make 2 cups of coffee, didn't lay out her vitamins like I always did. Didn't even ask how her night was. I made 1 coffee, mine. 1 breakfast, mine. The silence between us was thick, almost suffocating. When she walked into the kitchen, her eyes darted around, like I'd forgotten to do something, like the whole routine had slipped my mind. I didn't say a word. She didn't either. She glanced at the counter, at the empty spot where her coffee cup used to be, but said nothing. Just grabbed a protein bar and left for work. The way she acted like it was just another day, like nothing had changed, struck me. But I wasn't going to break the silence. Not now, not ever again. I didn't text her that day, or the next, or the one after that. I kept to myself, work, gym. A few hours on the back porch at night with whiskey, listening to the wind in the trees. It was a new rhythm, one that felt natural after just a few days. I had space, no more asking if she was okay, no more wondering if I was enough. It didn't feel cold. It didn't feel like punishment. It just felt like peace. My body twitched like it still expected me to reach for her coffee cup, or her dry cleaning ticket, or some other damn thing I'd done for her 1,000 times. But I ignored it all. She was the one who wanted distance. Fine. I gave it to her. 2 days in, she came into the shop late in the afternoon, a look of mild confusion in her eyes. "Did you pick up my dry cleaning?" she asked, like she was asking if I'd remembered to feed the dog or pick up a loaf of bread. I paused, letting the silence hang there, before I finally said, "I figured you'd handle it, since I'm so far beneath your level, right?" She blinked at me. The words hit harder than I thought they would, but she didn't respond, didn't apologize, just stared at me like I'd punched her. But even then, she didn't know how to react. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I wasn't trying to get back at her for everything. But damn, it felt good to just speak the truth for once. My silence wasn't petty. It wasn't about vengeance. It was about clarity. She wanted distance. She wanted to feel superior. Fine. I gave it to her. I gave her a vacuum and waited for her to trip over it. She didn't get it right away, but she would. And when she did, I'd be ready. Week 1, I slipped back into my old habits like I was never gone. I hit the gym before sunrise, harder than I had in months. It felt good, even if my body screamed at me after each set. I went to the shop early, got lost in the hum of the machines, the scent of fresh-cut wood filling the air. I called my brother again, something I hadn't done in years. We caught up about his kids, the weather, all the little things we used to talk about before life got complicated. I called Dan from high school, too. Met him at Murphy's for wings, cold beer, and that easy laughter we used to share. It felt normal. It felt real. For the first time in a long time, I felt alive. I started working on my own projects again, the ones I'd put on the back burner, pieces I'd wanted to build just for the hell of it. I made a cedar bench and gave it to my neighbor, the one who just lost his wife. He wasn't in the best place, but I could tell he appreciated the gesture. It was simple, no strings attached, just a bench and a little kindness. Felt good to give something, without expecting anything in return. Then Nate from the trade group called. He had heard about the contract I landed and wanted advice on scaling his mill. We talked for an hour. I walked him through it, explained what I'd learned, the mistakes I'd made. It felt like I had value again, like my experience meant something. That hour felt like more than just a conversation. It felt like I was reclaiming a part of myself I hadn't realized I'd lost. Even my dog acted different. She stuck to me more, shadowed me around the house, curled up by my feet when I sat down. Valerie used to be her favorite, but now, she couldn't get enough of me. It was like she knew things were different too. I stopped checking my phone for Valerie's texts, because there weren't any. I didn't need the distraction. She was the one who wanted distance, so I gave it to her. For the first time in years, I didn't feel that nagging pull to make everything right. I was living my life again, and it felt good. One night, I grilled pork chops on the back porch just for myself. The sun was sinking low, casting long shadows across the yard. I had a cold beer in hand and was savoring the quiet. Valerie came out, stood in the doorway for a second, then turned and walked back inside without saying a word. I didn't say anything either. She wasn't invited. The silence wasn't awkward. It wasn't hostile. It was just how it was. I wasn't chasing after her anymore. I wasn't asking for anything. She could do whatever she wanted, but she wasn't a part of this anymore. By day 10, Valerie started looking lost. I noticed it in the little things at first. She couldn't find her white blazer, the one she wore to every important meeting. I didn't say a word about it. I hadn't done her dry cleaning in a week. Not my problem. The fridge was missing her usual stash of lactose-free yogurt and fresh lemon wedges. She opened the door 3 times, like it would magically restock itself. But the shelves stayed bare of what she needed. She didn't ask me to pick any up. She just kept staring, her shoulders tight. One morning, I saw her leave for work with just a protein bar in hand and no coffee. She used to rely on me for that. Always had it made, right when she woke up. But not anymore. I didn't care. Her car had low tire pressure for 3 days. Used to be. I'd have fixed it before she even noticed. But now, I just watched her walk past it, like the problem wasn't right there in front of her. Thursday night, she knocked on the workshop door. That was new. She never came out here. I was sanding a piece of oak, the noise of the belt sander filling the space. When I heard her soft tap on the door, I cut the machine off, wiping my hands on my apron before I opened it. She was standing there, looking like she wasn't sure of herself anymore. "You want to sit and talk?" she asked, like it was a casual question, like nothing had shifted in the world since that night she walked away. I didn't rush to answer. "You tell me," I said, stepping back to give her space, the words almost feeling cold in the air between us. "You said you'd let me know when it was time to talk." She didn't argue. She didn't try to force it. She just stood there for a second, staring at me, like she was waiting for something to change. But I wasn't going to change. Not for her. She left without a word. That night, I heard her crying in the guest bathroom. The sound was quiet, muffled behind the door, but I heard it. The soft sobs. I didn't go to her. I didn't offer comfort. She had made the rules. She wanted the distance. I'd just followed them better than she expected. I stayed in the workshop, picking up tools, cleaning up the mess from the day's work. Every so often, I could still hear her crying, but I didn't move. Not once. If she needed me, she knew where to find me. If she wanted my attention, she had to earn it, just like I'd earned every ounce of my silence. I wasn't punishing her. I wasn't out for revenge. But I wasn't bending anymore. I wasn't the guy who'd jump every time she decided it was time to notice me. If she wanted something, she was going to have to ask for it. And right now, she wasn't asking. She wasn't even sure if she wanted to. It was Friday of week 2 when Riley, my apprentice, came into the shop with wide eyes. "Dude, some ladies in the lobby with flowers," he said, looking confused. I stood up, wiped my hands on a rag, and stepped out of the workshop. There she was, Valerie, standing in the lobby, heels clicking against the concrete, holding a bouquet that looked like it was straight out of a Hallmark movie. Bright red roses, mixed with some ridiculous greenery, like she was trying to win some pity points. I wasn't in the mood. "We're closed," I said, keeping my voice flat. She didn't flinch, though. Just stood there, eyes searching mine, like she was hoping something in me would soften. "Please," she said, "can you just hear me out?" I crossed my arms, standing my ground. "I'm listening." She took a breath, like she was steeling herself for what was coming. "I'm sorry," she said, voice tight but steady. "I shouldn't have dismissed you like that. I shouldn't have said the things I did." She glanced down at the bouquet in her hands and then back up at me. It was all the stress, the work, everything. I nodded, but it wasn't the nod of someone who was ready to forgive. No, you saw it. You just didn't care until it inconvenienced you. Her face froze for a second, then the tears started. Slow at first, then faster. She wiped at her eyes, but it didn't help much. The mascara smudged and her makeup couldn't hide the panic starting to creep in. I miss you, she said, voice breaking. I didn't soften. You miss what I did for you, I said, taking a step closer, but not too close. You miss how I took care of everything for you, how I was always there when you needed something. But you don't miss me. She flinched, like my words hit harder than she expected. Her eyes searched my face, looking for some crack, some sign that I'd change my mind, that I'd fold. But I wasn't going to. Not this time. She put the flowers down on a workbench, her hands trembling as she stepped back. I thought we'd get through it, she said, voice barely above a whisper. I didn't think I'd lose you. I didn't say anything. Didn't need to. I wasn't interested in fixing her mess anymore. She looked at the flowers, then back at me, and I could see the realization hit her like a punch. I wasn't going to take her back. I wasn't going to make it easy for her. She picked up the bouquet, but her shoulders slumped. She didn't say goodbye, just turned and walked out, the door clicking shut behind her. Riley was standing in the doorway, eyes wide, not sure what to make of the whole thing. He didn't say anything either, just stood there, waiting for me to react. I walked over to the workbench and grabbed the bouquet, tossing it in the sawdust bin. The flowers tumbled in, bright red against the mess of wood shavings. Riley just stared at me, but I didn't care. Let's get back to work, I said, my voice firm, like this was just another day in the shop. Monday morning, I walked into Wes Harlan's office. He was sitting behind his desk, his usual calm demeanor not betraying the fact that he'd been waiting for this moment. Wes wasn't the type to rush. He didn't need to. He was a local bulldog, quiet but sharp, and when he took on a case, it was like he was aiming for the jugular. Morning, I said, sitting across from him. He didn't say anything, just slid the draft paperwork over to me. Divorce, no arguments, just clean. I didn't waste any time. I laid out the numbers, the hours I spent grinding away while she chased promotions and fancier titles. I showed him the receipts, how I'd funded Valerie's MBA while I worked 60-hour weeks, how I kept the house running while she climbed the ladder. I didn't expect sympathy from Wes, and I didn't get it. But when I handed him my ledger, every transfer, every bill, every detail of the last 10 years, he looked up at me and grinned. "This is surgical," he said, his voice low and matter-of-fact. "She's not going to see this coming." I didn't care what Valerie saw or didn't see. It was done. That Friday, she got the envelope at her office. I'm sure it wasn't a great time. Right in the middle of their executive team lunch, her assistant told me later. The whole office probably heard the air leave her lungs when she saw what was inside. The divorce papers, no preamble, no warning, just that. That night, her text came in, "Can we please talk?" I stared at the phone for a second, weighing my options. I could have sent something back, but why bother? I didn't need to keep playing the game. I didn't respond. Saturday morning, I went ahead and changed my number. A clean break? She wasn't getting through. She'd had her chance. By Sunday, I was done with the reminders. I took down the wedding photos from the living room wall, those pictures that had hung there for years, smiling, pretending everything was fine. I packed up the ones with us in them and sent those to her. Wes had said, let her figure out what her life looks like when no one's keeping it glued together anymore. That was his advice, and I liked it. She could see how it felt to be on her own. When she opened the box, she'd realize how much I had done, how much I'd carried, and now I wasn't holding anything up anymore. I didn't need to. Week 3, she showed up again, right in the middle of the workday. I was in the back of the shop, running some pieces through the planer when I heard the doorbell chime. Riley, one of the apprentices, poked his head through the doorway. "Hey man, someone's out front." I wiped the sawdust off my hands and stepped out. There she was, Valerie. No flowers this time, no apology, just her, standing there in a soft sweater, looking like she'd just walked out of a self-help book. No purse, no coat, nothing to hold on to except her words. "I don't recognize myself anymore," she said, her voice shaky but trying to sound steady. "I see how far I've drifted and I don't want to be this person anymore." She stood there, waiting for me to react, like she thought I was still the guy who'd bend over backward for her, but I didn't. I just stared at her, hands stuffed in my pockets, my body still, waiting for her to finish. I think I need therapy, she added, her voice catching just slightly. I know I've messed up. I know I've hurt you, but I want to fix it. Please, can we try? I didn't say anything at first, just let the silence hang there. I'd spent years trying to fix things with her, years of talking, explaining, begging for just a little recognition. But I wasn't that guy anymore. I wasn't going to do that again. Finally, I spoke, my voice low, deliberate. I already did therapy, I said. It's called remembering who I was before you decided I wasn't enough. She looked taken aback, like she hadn't expected me to fire back like that. But it didn't stop her. I miss you, she said, her voice pleading now, her eyes wide, desperate for something from me. I miss the man who made our house feel like home. I didn't move, didn't soften. That man moved out the day you told him he wasn't on your level, I said, stepping closer to her, just enough to let the words land. And I'm not going back to him. I could feel the heat of the apprentice's eyes on us from behind the glass doors. Some of the customers in the shop had slowed down, watching us as if they were witnessing some kind of drama unfold. Valerie must have noticed because she faltered. Her shoulders drooped, and I saw it. The realization that there was nothing left for her to manipulate, no more pieces of me to pick up and put back together. Her voice faltered, but she tried again. Please, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean what I said. I've changed. I leaned in, just enough for her to hear, close enough that she couldn't pretend she hadn't heard me. You thought you'd break me. Turns out I rebuild better than you expected. She stood there for a second, looking at me like she was waiting for something else. A word, a gesture, a sign that I still cared enough to change my mind. But I didn't give her anything. Not anymore. I didn't need to. Finally, without another word, she turned and walked out the door. I didn't watch her go. I didn't care. The door clicked shut behind her, and I walked back to the lathe like nothing had happened. The hum of the machine started up again, steady and familiar. It felt good. It felt right. Riley was still standing there, watching me, but he didn't say anything. Neither did anyone else. I didn't need the approval. I just needed the space to rebuild, and that's exactly what I was doing. 4 weeks later, the papers were signed. Divorce final. Clean break. We split everything down the middle. My name went back to Solo on the mortgage, just like it had been before we ever met. She tried to push for alimony, but my lawyer laughed. She's been making 6 figures the last 2 years, and you've got the receipts to prove it. I couldn't help but feel a small sense of satisfaction at that, knowing she couldn't lean on me anymore. Rumor had it, she'd been passed over for a promotion around that time. Maybe the stress didn't help, but I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. I didn't care about her career, her success, or whatever the hell she was doing anymore. My own world was enough now. On move-out day, I loaded up my truck with the new tools I'd been saving for, stuff I'd put off buying because it never felt like the right time. But now it was just me, and that truck was packed to the brim with my future. I was at the front door when Valerie showed up. I wasn't expecting her. She stood there, her hand hovering over her keys like she was trying to find the right words. She didn't say anything at first, just looked at me like she wanted to ask for something. Finally, she spoke. Can we keep in touch? You know, for the sake of everything. I didn't even flinch. You said I wasn't at your level, I told her, my voice steady, no hesitation. Don't backpedal now. I dropped her key into her palm without another word. She stood there for a second, staring at it like it was some kind of final judgment. Maybe it was. I didn't care. I turned, walked to my truck, and didn't look back. The door to the house was shut behind me for the last time, and I felt something settle deep inside me. It was quiet, but it wasn't the same silence I used to carry. It was peace. The truck rumbled to life, and I drove away. The weight of years of trying to make it work, lifting off my shoulders with each mile. There was no regret, no wondering what could have been, just the road ahead. And for the first time in a long time, I was finally looking forward to the ride. 6 months later, I live in a place that smells like sawdust and strong coffee. The shop's running full tilt now, busy as hell. I added a second crew, more hands to keep up with the work I've been landing. The buzz of the machines, the weight of the tools in my hands, it's all mine. No distractions. Oh, just the sound of things getting built, and the peace that comes with knowing it's all because of the choices I made. Weekends are mine now. I'm fishing more, grilling, doing things I used to shelve because I was in the way. Now, I'm where I want to be. No apologies, no explanations. Just me and the dog. Valerie tried texting me again a few weeks ago. "Can we talk?" she asked, like I'd be sitting by my phone, waiting for her to reach out. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. She became a name in my rearview mirror. Just another chapter. Just another person who didn't matter anymore. Some mutual friend told me she's dating a tech guy now. Good for her. Doesn't matter. She's someone else's problem now. I still have the bench I made during that first silent week. It sits out back under the trees, weathered just like the rest of it. Every now and then, I sit on it with a beer in my hand and the dog at my feet, and I think, damn, I almost forgot who I was. But I didn't. I remembered. I got it back. That's the real revenge, isn't it? Not yelling, not wrecking her career. Just walking away so clean that she has to sit with what she broke. She doesn't get the satisfaction of me falling apart. Doesn't get the drama, just silence. And the knowledge that I didn't need her to be whole. I'm not bitter. I'm free. And for the first time in years, I don't owe anyone a damn thing.